What if the most iconic FBI agent in television history walked back through that basement door one more time? That question, a question millions of fans have been asking for years, just got a whole lot more interesting. Because David Duchovny is talking. And what he's saying is sending shockwaves through every X-Files fan community on the internet right now. So buckle up, because the truth, it might actually be out there again. Let's go back to 1993 for a second. There was a show, a strange, paranoid, beautifully weird show that premiered on Fox on September 10th and changed television forever. It wasn't flashy in the way most shows were. It didn't have a massive budget. It didn't have a built-in franchise behind it. What it had was atmosphere, mythology, two characters who felt so real, so human, so magnetic together that people couldn't look away. The X-Files wasn't just a show about aliens and government conspiracies. It was a show about belief, about the desperate, relentless need to find the truth in a world designed to hide it. Fox Mulder, believer, obsessive, brilliant, broken, became one of the most beloved characters in the history of the medium. And the man who played him, David Duchovny, made it look effortless. For 9 seasons, 2 films, a 6-episode revival in 2016, and another 10 episodes in 2018. The man has lived inside that character for over 3 decades. So when Duchovny starts talking about a potential return, even cautiously, even hypothetically, the world pays attention. And right now, the world is very, very attentive. Here's what happened. In a recent interview, David Duchovny was asked directly about the upcoming X-Files reboot, the one that has been generating massive buzz ever since it was announced that Ryan Coogler, yes, the director of Black Panther, Creed, and Sinners, is developing a brand new version of the franchise for Hulu. And Duchovny didn't dodge the question. He didn't give a cold no comment. He said something far more interesting. He confirmed that he has actually spoken with Ryan Coogler. Let that sink in. The man who played Fox Mulder for over 30 years. And the director who redefined what superhero cinema could look like, who brought Wakanda to life, who has proven again and again that he can handle massive, mythological storytelling with grace and cultural depth. These 2 men have had a conversation about the X-Files. That's not nothing. That is very much something. But, and here's where Duchovny keeps it real. He's being careful not to oversell what that conversation means. He's not saying he's in. He's not announcing a comeback. He's being honest in a way that's actually kind of refreshing. He says it was a conversation, a real one, a meaningful one, but nothing is confirmed. Nothing is locked in. The door is open, but nobody has walked through it yet. So what exactly does Duchovny know at this point? Less than you might hope, but more than enough to keep us talking. He has not read a script. He doesn't even know if one exists in a form he could read yet. The project is still in its formative stages, still being shaped and built from the ground up. Which means Duchovny is essentially being asked about a movie where he hasn't seen the set, hasn't read the screenplay, and doesn't know what role, if any, exists for him. And here's the part that's genuinely fascinating. He openly says he doesn't know whether Fox Mulder even exists in this new version of the X-Files universe. Think about what that means. This reboot isn't being positioned as a continuation of the story we know. It's not picking up where Season 11 left off. It's not, here's what Mulder and Scully are doing now. Ryan Coogler is building something new, something with its own identity, its own heartbeat. And whether the old mythology bleeds into the new one, whether Mulder and Scully are part of this world at all, is still an open, unanswered question. Duchovny himself used the word hypothetical. Everything, he says, is hypothetical right now. And honestly, that might be the most X-Files answer imaginable. Shrouded in uncertainty, laced with possibility, maddeningly vague in the most compelling way. Now let's talk about Ryan Coogler, because if you're going to trust anyone with this franchise, his name sits near the very top of that list. This is a filmmaker with a track record that speaks for itself. Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, which didn't just gross over $1 billion, but genuinely shifted cultural conversations about representation, mythology, and what blockbuster cinema could aspire to be. And then Sinners, his most recent film, which proved once again that Coogler is not interested in playing it safe. He is interested in making things that matter. He brings weight to everything he touches. He brings soul. The X-Files at its best had both of those things in abundance. The original series wasn't just entertaining, it was haunting. It made you feel the loneliness of the search, the paranoia, the creeping sense that the world is stranger and darker than anyone in power will ever admit. That's a thematic space Ryan Coogler knows how to inhabit. He understands the texture of mythology. He understands how to make audiences feel something profound inside a genre framework. And the new cast already suggests he's thinking big. Danielle Deadwyler, an extraordinary actress whose recent work has made Hollywood take serious notice, is attached to the reboot. And Himesh Patel, whose quiet charisma and range have been steadily building toward a moment like this, is also on board. These are not placeholder names. These are not safe, obvious choices. These are actors with real artistic fire. This reboot is being developed for Hulu, which means it's streaming, which means it's not beholden to the restrictions of network television. It can go darker, stranger, more cinematic, more daring. The foundation being built here is genuinely exciting. But here's something Duchovny said in his interview that deserves way more attention than it's getting. Because when he talks about what would make him feel confident about returning, what would make him believe that the new X-Files is in good hands, he doesn't talk about the director first. He doesn't talk about the budget. He doesn't talk about the streaming platform. He talks about the writers. He talks about the writer's room. And he does it with a kind of reverence that tells you everything about what made the original series as great as it was. The X-Files was, at its core, a writer's show. Chris Carter built something with his collaborators that had a mythology so intricate, so carefully layered, that fans are still debating and analyzing it decades later. And the people who wrote those episodes, people like Vince Gilligan, who would go on to create Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, two of the most acclaimed dramas in television history, they elevated a genre show into genuine art. Duchovny knows this. He lived it. He performed those words. He understands that Mulder was only as good as the scripts Mulder was given. And he's essentially saying, before he gets excited about coming back, he wants to know who's in that room. Who's building the world? Who's shaping the stories? That's not the answer of a star chasing a paycheck. That's the answer of someone who actually cares about the work. Someone who respects the legacy enough to not want to see it mishandled. And in 2026, when so many reboots and revivals feel cynical and hollow, the kind of thoughtfulness from a returning actor is genuinely rare. It's worth noticing. Now, we absolutely cannot talk about any X-Files return without talking about Gillian Anderson, because Scully and Mulder are not separable. They are two halves of the same equation. Mulder without Scully is unthinkable, and thankfully, we may not have to think it. Gillian Anderson, who played Dana Scully with such intelligence and precision and quiet emotional power that she became an icon in her own right. A character who inspired a generation of women to pursue careers in science and medicine, who embodied skepticism as a form of strength, has indicated that she is open to returning. Open to returning. Now, open is not confirmed. We're still in hypothetical territory. But the fact that both leads are willing to have the conversation, willing to engage with the idea, willing to not immediately close the door, that means something. That's a signal. And combined with Coogler's involvement, the Hulu platform, a fresh new cast, and what sounds like genuine creative ambition at the center of this project, the picture being assembled here is one that any X-Files fan would have trouble resisting. So what does all of this actually mean for the fans? Let's think through the possibilities, because there are a few distinct paths this could take. Option 1, a cameo. Mulder and Scully appear in limited capacity, maybe an episode, maybe a scene, as a connective thread between the old mythology and the new story. A passing of the torch, a blessing from the original investigators to the new generation. It will be emotional. It will be meaningful. It would probably break the internet. Option 2, a fuller return. Duchovny and Anderson come back in a more substantial capacity, not as the leads, but as significant presences. Mentors, perhaps. Figures who exist within the same world as Deadwyler and Patel's characters, whose history informs the new story without overwhelming it. This is the version that balances nostalgia with freshness, honoring what came before while still moving forward. Option 3, an entirely new story. No Mulder, no Scully, just the DNA of the original. The paranoia, the mythology, the sense of cosmic wrongness lurking beneath the surface of ordinary American life, transplanted into new characters, a new era, a new sensibility. Riskier, braver, potentially the most exciting version of all if Ryan Coogler's instincts are as sharp as they've proven to be. Any one of these could work. Any one of these could be extraordinary. The question is what Coogler's vision demands, and whether Duchovny and Anderson are part of that vision or simply adjacent to it. We don't know yet. And truthfully, that uncertainty is part of what makes this so compelling. We're living in real time inside the mythology of a show that made a religion out of not knowing. The truth is out there, but we haven't found it yet. Here's what we do know. David Duchovny is paying attention. He's had a real conversation with Ryan Coogler. He's approaching the possibility with seriousness and genuine care for the material. Gillian Anderson hasn't closed the door either. And the new X-Files is being built by one of the most talented filmmakers of his generation for a platform that gives him the freedom to do something genuinely bold. This is not a dead franchise being cynically strip-mined for nostalgia dollars. Or at least, it doesn't look like one. Not yet. Not with these names attached. Not with this level of care and conversation happening behind the scenes. The basement office might not be empty for long, but I want to know what you think. Because this community, the people who grew up on this show, who stayed up late watching it, who still argue about the mythology, who still feel something when they hear that theme music, your opinion matters here. Do you think Mulder should return? Should Duchovny step back into those shoes one more time, even briefly, and give us the closure or the continuation we've been waiting for? Or is it time, truly time, to let the X-Files become something new? To hand a flashlight to a new generation of investigators and trust that Ryan Coogler can build something worthy of the name without looking backward? Is the truth still out there? Or is it time to find a new truth entirely?